Today on Life After Domestic Abuse Now, we're joined by Cassia, a survivor of domestic abuse and trauma. She'll share her raw and transparent journey of healing and how she used spirituality and personal determination to overcome the darkest parts of her life and find peace and harmony now. Let's dive in.
Hi everyone, I'm Cassia, and I think we're gonna have a discussion around trauma today, and it's around like domestic violence and my past experience and how I overcome and onto the other side.
Thank you
So
so much, Cassia. Thank you for joining us on this podcast today. It's always interesting to talk to survivors of trauma and domestic abuse, and we know the challenges and sometimes the difficulties it is, especially when people have gone through trauma. So to be able to talk about it right now is much appreciated. So let's start from what kind of trauma did you actually go through? And if you can just give us kind of like an overview to kind of your mechanisms on what you did to kind of come out of trauma. Yeah.
it's quite difficult, especially when I was quite young. I think it started when I was 19. So like growing up with that, and I had to overcome. I did find it's like you have to find something of interest and how, because if you're always there thinking about oh gosh, I've gone for this, I've gone for that, you have to find a way of overcoming certain things and find strengths in certain things. I feel that education, that's what I choose. I've been to so many universities and I did a lot of studying as well. I think that was a way of coping with that, and I feel the shame of it all. I didn't really want to speak to anyone about it until I was old enough to realize that, wow, you actually left that. Anything could have happened to you. So I think having a strength in something, and I know, and also it's good to talk to other people. If you don't, you can always say, "Oh, I know somebody who's this, who's going through that. How do you think you can cope with it?" Just to get people's views on how you can move on. But I feel it's when you're ready that you'll actually move on from trauma. Really.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's interesting that you say quite a few things
Yeah.
then. And one of the things I really picked up on is also seeking out like-minded people that have also experienced trauma.
Mhm.
And have you
Mhm.
felt some comfort in just knowing that perhaps it wasn't something that was isolated to you as an individual when you started to find out that other people had experienced similar trauma to you?
Yes, it quite helped because actually, like, someone who's much older than me, and he was like, and I was like, really, there was one a colleague, and I was really surprised. She said, "Oh, I've gone through this." Yeah, so, because one day we were just having a conversation, and I was like, "Oh gosh, this all happening in my life. I'm getting divorced, blah, blah, blah." And I just broke down. I was like, "Oh, usually I don't do things like that. I don't." She goes like, "It's okay, let's lay it out." And I'm going to tell you, I've actually exactly what you're going through right now. I lost everything. I had to leave. I had to sell my house. I had to do that, and then this is how I got through it. And obviously, she's quite a spiritual person. She was like, I went to church. I had the church was trying comforting to me, and she was giving certain example. I feel sometimes, as again we do isolate ourselves by keeping things in and thinking you can get through things by yourself by not speaking on it. And I feel that can help a lot with you trying to get therapy, because not a lot of people can actually afford that, but like speaking to someone who's going through the same thing can be quite helpful.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you also mentioned about faith and
Mhm,
spirituality. Is that
mhm,
something that you tapped into at some points in your life at overcoming trauma?
mhm. Yes, it did a lot. Yeah, it helped me a lot. Yeah, obviously, I had to learn about myself. I had to learn how to love myself. Like, I do a lot of meditation. I'll do yoga, I'll meditate, but that's something I had to learn over time, to how can I, instead of me crying about it, how can I do something about it? So I think being spiritual as a person, praying, I think that helped me a lot just to overcome a lot of the trauma that I've gone through. I've never done therapy yet. That's something I still feel that if there's a window to do that, I still feel that it will help as well. I think certain cultures we don't speak on certain things, we keep it locked because obviously you don't feel the shame of it or your family's gonna judge you. But I feel seeking help does help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting that you speak about yoga, meditation, and you
Mhm.
also speak about that shame culturally.
Mhm.
Would
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
say that's typical, like within, like, people of color or Caribbean culture? Do you feel that there isn't really kind of an outlet for you to be able to just say what has happened to you because of those cultural restrictions.
I mean, there is, because obviously we always see the man, he's the man, or why you soft, or why you know, like you need, as a woman, they expect you to be quite strong with certain things. And then I feel that within the culture, even the black culture, or whatever, yeah, you're not like, it's okay for a man to hit a woman. Like
So why you
it's
start like
acceptable.
something like that? Like just get on with it. Would you say that that's usually kind of attitude?
Yes, yes, you get on. Yes, you have to. You just have to get on with it. Yeah, it was just you. Oh, if you done it once, oh come on, you just done it once. But once does it's not once only. It's like over and over again, and it becomes a pattern. And then you go to the family, and it's just there's no help.
Yeah.
There's no one wants to speak on it. No one wants to. It's like a normal thing until you in the grave. I think.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you think like trauma could be generational as well? Like I know like in some families it's just
Mhm.
happened with your mum, their mum, and it's just you're just conditioned to kind of just stay shut up and put up. Would you say that's kind of something that, you had experienced as well?
It's like a normal, because my dad was used to do it to my mom. I feel after a while she just left, obviously. But that's not something she would tolerate, because she got married a second time. It never really happened in a second marriage. But I feel that sometimes, and I feel as well, yeah, like I never grew up with my dad, a father figure as well. That's one of the reasons why I think it's acceptable that a man's trying to discipline you, but trying to discipline you the wrong way.
Yeah.
Not knowing that a man
Not
shouldn't
with
put
the
his
belt
hands
or something.
like a man shouldn't put her hands on his woman. I'm not your child. You shouldn't
Yeah,
be doing that.
yeah.
I don't think it's acceptable. And
Mm.
then, and I feel also it's hard for us to go talk to friends about it. I feel the shame of it all, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
feel like it almost trauma when it becomes to physical trauma, like especially in like our generation and our culture, that it almost becomes the new normal. So when we
yeah,
do go on and have relationships, even though we know like, that kind of way of the way somebody's treating you is incorrect, we kind of like almost, incorporate that into our what we consider a new normal, and we kind of put up with it
yeah.
for a
We
longer period
do.
of time than maybe our counterparts would
That's
have.
true. That's definitely right. And also, I think when it's been physical, I think you get so immune to that now, and then you meet someone else, or it will be not physical element, but it could be financial abuse, or it could be someone talking down at you, and if it's acceptable, because you'd be like you're scared of being abandoned by somebody else, and I think it carries on until you put in that work. I
Yeah,
think it just continues over and over again, whoever like in our lives. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, interesting. And I guess, like trauma where culture is encompassed with kind of traditions and what we've always known, I guess it's hard to relinquish those ties because it is a question of what will everybody else say. And maybe
Mhm.
from a family where, you know, leaving a relationship is like frowned upon.
Trying,
How
isn't
you
it?
gonna
Yeah.
cope? How you gonna deal with the
Yeah.
child on your own? How you gonna be a single parent?
Yeah, yeah. It looks bad. It's like you rather you stay in that relationship, make it work. What was the saying? Better than the devil you know, the angel you don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's like you know his weakness, you know what he's capable of, you know what that. You can meet someone else could be worse. And it's like you think about it, oh, the child is his father around, and let me just stick around. And sometimes you stick around. I think I did. I stick around longer than I'm supposed to.
No.
And that's passing on trauma to that child as well. Yeah, seeing everything that's happening. So it's repeating itself over and over again. Yeah, by not dealing with that, we do deal with it all the time.
And how
Yeah,
did you kind of navigate your way out of
yeah,
that to be able to kind of find that inner strength?
yeah,
Say,
yeah,
I'm not dealing with this anymore.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorting out things in my own way
yeah.
and leaving this trauma. How did you deal with that?
Well, I've always got a plan. Yeah,
That's good.
I've always got a plan. Yeah, it could be job, work, whatever. I always got a plan. So I knew, yeah, that obviously I had a plan. I know I'm gonna leave at a certain point. Yeah, I know I got enough money to save up secretly, secret stash away somewhere. Then I'm gonna leave. Well, question is, did I stay too long? I did. because my child saw a lot of arguing and not so healthy things that's happening. Yeah, but I knew I was not gonna continue like being in that unhealthy place that I was. So yes, I like, as I said to you, yeah, I'll just go into school. I know that was my motivation. I think we all to have a motivation in life, and I think if we don't, yeah, it's just gonna go down, 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 down. You have to be positive and find a way of you getting out of it, or else you're just gonna be trapped in it forever. That's it.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
having a plan and,
Mhm.
beginning to put money aside, forward
Mhm.
thinking. I
Mhm.
mean, how do you kind of plan when you're in that web of abuse? How can you think straight about, right,
Yeah.
these are the steps that I need to take?
Yeah. I think I'm a strong person. That's the thing. Not everyone's gonna be as strong as I am. I've got a strong mindset. That's the thing. Yeah. And gosh, it's like individual, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to think what you want for your life. I think sometimes some people in a situation and there's no future for them, and they actually go into depression and have mental health. I guess I'm lucky enough to be able to get out. I never get to that point. But again, I think seeking help as well, because you being isolated, yeah, it's not gonna help the situation. You never be able to get out. Even if you try to go and you come back to the same things day in, day out, you feel like you're going 2 steps forward, 1 step, or 5 steps backwards because you're not really getting anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Really,
And
yeah.
do you find help? I mean, do you feel that you can just reach out to an organization? I mean, are they
Yeah.
overstretched or
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned stuff of self-development as well. You
That's it. For me, yeah. I've
mentioned
never really went out to any organization because I think now, because there's YouTube, right? There's
yeah,
a lot of things I learned from YouTube about being like spiritual and things like that, and just going through knowing like, okay, I meditate, yeah, it helps me. Yeah, there's 3 things on meditation, and this is what you can do to improve your life, and this is what you can do, this is what you can do. But like, I don't think everyone's into that, because I think social media, most people are Instagram, TikTok,
yeah.
because I'm not any on any social media. I'm not on social media.
Okay.
Because social media is like something that makes me I compare my life to others, and I'm like, oh, they're so great, their life is so great.
Yeah. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, you're
I'm
nice
like,
and course, about they're taking pictures of their dinner or something
you know
like
what I mean?
that,
I'm
and
not
then
even on social
fancy restaurant.
media. Yeah, and okay, and I'm not Hindu, yeah. I'm not Hindu, yeah, but I've gone into the Hindu culture, yeah. It's like I learned about Vedic astrology and all these things like that, yeah.
Wow.
I've been doing it for like 3 years now. So I learned about my chart. I learned about my chart. I read certain things about
What? So
myself.
you have
Yeah.
in
I swear to God, yeah.
astrology.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I learned the
amazing.
reason why I saw the reason why I was having trouble in my life. These are the stars. These are the things I need to do. I learned that this is the time I was supposed to move. This is the time I was supposed to buy my house.
Yes,
So
yes,
I've changed my life. Yeah, that's just I changed my life because I get to know myself, and I realized this is the reason why. Like, some things are written in the stars, isn't it?
yes,
So
yes.
I learned about myself, and that I think once I start taking time out and doing my research on things, that I find out who I am, and certain things
Wow.
gonna happen to me in my life. Yeah, I know it's weird, isn't it?
So
And
you
then
looked
yeah,
at the houses because
yeah.
they have
Oh,
houses in
you're
it.
Hindu, isn't it? I
Yes,
forgot you.
yes, and we have those done when we're born.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh, this is why I wasn't supposed to marry this guy. Yeah, there's a divorce right in my chair. And yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. And
Oh,
it's like,
yes.
I don't know about myself. I was like, wow. From then on, yeah, I learned about certain things, and I listen to predictions. I do all that, but not everyone is into that spirituality
Yeah.
things anyway. So I think that's really, really helped me being very spiritual. Yeah, I think that has been keeping me grounded.
Tell me
Yeah,
something. Had
yeah.
you learned that all from YouTube, or did you know somebody, or did you go
No, I
to an
did not know
astrologer?
nobody. Yeah, I'm someone that like to learn. I like to learn. I like to read, and I question things. And then one day I was just sitting. I don't, sometimes it just happens. Yeah, and I was like, Vedic astrology, blah blah blah. She was she was giving. I was like, oh my gosh, I got interested. And now 3 years I've just been studying and I'm looking, and yeah, it's just made a change in my life. Honestly,
That's
yeah,
absolutely amazing. And do
it's
you
crazy.
still are you living by that, the way that
Yeah,
astrologers are positioned in
yeah,
your
I am.
chart?
Yes.
Wow.
It's not sinner,
Yes.
but
And
it's
have you
true.
your child? That's interesting. Have you
I
looked at
know.
hers?
I did. Everything it says about my it says that my dad had addiction issues. It was in my chart. I lost a brother when I was quite young, yeah, and it's like shown. It was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And what about your child? Will you do something? Have you done that chart for her or?
Know her chat, yes. I definitely
Yeah.
know her chat. Yeah, I do know her chat, yes. But then that's the way of like I feel you have to find an interest, you have to find something. But not everyone thinks I'm Google Gaga anyways, yeah, because when I do go to our family and talk about this, because it's okay for you because you grew up in a culture like
Yes.
that. But like,
Yes.
yeah, but like I think I've lived by it now, yeah, for the past 3 years now. So yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
absolutely like amazed and
Yeah,
dumbfounded. That's fantastic. So what is
man.
the kind of your kind of mechanisms and your journey to be able to kind of maneuver forward? Like
Yeah.
looking at astrology, I think it kind of gives hope. And I think that's why a lot of Asian families, well, we did
Yeah.
initiation when we're born. Um,
It's true.
and
It's
also with
true.
marriage as well. Just before people
Yeah.
get married, they do the astrology of both parties, the bride and the groom. And if
Yeah.
there's like the houses don't align, there's
Uh-huh.
strong possibilities that marriage doesn't go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, I know, but like, yeah, now I understand it a bit more now. Yeah,
that's
and
amazing.
certain things. Yeah. But then you have to definitely find kind of. I think spirituality has made a big change of dealing with trauma for me. So yeah, I think that's been my main focus really.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you've been kind of studying that for the last 3 years. And it's
Yeah.
like you've taken on a lot of Eastern philosophy because that's kind of really
Yeah.
of yoga, meditation.
Yeah, yeah, I have a lot. And then it's like my ninth house is a house of learning, isn't it? And then it shows here, obviously. And I was like, when I was getting the consultation, I was like, oh, ninth house. I was thinking of my doing my PhD. And he was like, oh, it's right in your chart, yeah, that you, I was like, yeah, because I was applying to do my PhD, right? And she was like, it shows that you've got the ninth house of learning, yeah, in that place, yeah. So yes, definitely you should go for it and things like that. I was like, oh, wow. So yeah, so yeah, it has made a big impact in my life. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And how is that kind of gone down with the family? So your family are not from the Hindu or Vedic
Yeah, yeah,
culture.
yeah.
What have
Yeah.
they made it? I think you used the word Google Gaga. You tried to explain things to mum and family?
Spoken to mom, and then she was like, "Oh, I wonder if you can do my chat." I said, "Mom, you need to find out what the time he was born." Yeah, because I had to. Yeah, I kept asking you when I was born. You keep saying night, and I went there and I did a rectification, and they found exactly the time I was born. Yeah, so I said, "This is why I was asking you questions, but you didn't know." She goes, "Oh." She goes, "Oh, I'd love to do my chat." I was like, "Oh, maybe you should do yours as well." So I think my mom, but my sister, I don't know so much about it. No, I don't think she has much interest in that. So yeah.
So just for clarification,
Yeah.
what's your background? Let's just delve into that a little.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm from St. Lucia, Caribbean, and you know
Sure.
how we are. Yeah. We are very hard headstrong about certain things, and very
And denomination of faith, is it usually, is it Christian or?
yeah,
Yeah.
Christian. But you know what? The thing about my faith, yeah, I'm so liberal. I'm so open to faith. I try anything, which is, I mean, people will think I'm crazy, but I do. I have tried, and I think it's got like just because I was born as a Christian person, like have doesn't mean I have to stick to it. If I find my peace in a religion, I feel that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
And that's really interesting that,
Yeah.
you touch on that because
Yeah.
sometimes we seek faith when we're in our most desperate
Yeah.
state, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where we become more open
Yes.
to faith that can lead us to some kind of hope, would you
Yeah.
say?
Definitely. I definitely agree. It's true because obviously there's two ways, right? Either you sink or you swim
Mm,
when you're in that situation. And I decided, no, I'm not sinking in that. I have to do something about it. Because there are people, as I said, there's people who's gone depression, mental health. They will never be able to get up, and they can't see the other side. But to myself, I saw the other side, and I thought, no, not gonna be stuck in that. I have to do something about it. So yeah, but my faith was what kept me going, anyways.
And would you say using these mechanisms to
Mhm.
help you overcome your trauma, is this something that you will be doing for the rest of your life, or is this just
Definitely.
enough to just get over that?
No, definitely not. No, it's my way of life now. No way. Definitely. If I could be a teacher for that, yeah, definitely I'll do it. Yeah. So I think that's that's incorporate my life on a daily basis. That's something I do. Yeah. I can't go to the temple because I'm black. They're gonna look at me funny anyway. So yeah. So definitely that's something I'll continue doing. Yeah.
No. So would the temple be the next step for you?
Yeah, why not? I definitely would love to go to the temple.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, those traumatic times,
Yeah.
I found going to the temple really just aligns me and kind of just brings some element of peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could be going through something quite sort of with a lot of tension
Yeah.
problems, and I always find the environment of the temple kind of just regrounds me. But my language skills are, almost at zero. So sometimes, you kind of just feel the vibes of a temple. Sometimes
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't understand what's being said,
that's
but
true.
you can understand the spirituality, the vibe,
The mantras and yeah,
mantras.
yeah,
Absolutely. So yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
very, very interesting. And
yeah,
so just kind of could you just kind of tell us a little bit about where life is now for you? So you mentioned that the journey that's taken
yeah,
you to where you are
uh,
now and the the mechanisms that you've used to get there. How would you describe life now for you after trauma?
I think my life is quite obviously sometimes you think about thoughts, or if I knew that I wouldn't be in that situation for so long. But I feel sometimes you have to go some I don't think it's acceptable for us to be abused. That's
Hmm.
not what I'm saying. But sometimes I think it's given me my strength. I think I'm quite a strong person. Yes, I'm emotional, but I'm very strong. I think I'm very strong minded person, and I feel I always try to find a way of having plans and being positive about certain things. So I feel I'm quite stable. I mean, it could be better, but I mean, I think I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for who I am. I'm just trying to do more self care. I'd love to travel more,
Mm,
but yeah, have more time on my hands. But yeah, I am grateful for where I am today.
that's
Yeah, I
amazing.
am very grateful.
Thank you so much, Cassia. Thank you for a
That's
very
okay.
thought-provoking chat.
That's
Never
okay.
expected you to tell us about very
Told you, and I
well,
forgot that you was actually. I forgot that you were actually
yes,
doing.
yeah, but very, very interesting. And
Yeah,
I want to thank you for sharing
yeah, that's all right. Mhm.
personal feelings and overcoming trauma and
Mm,
to your journey of peace. So
no
thank you
worries.
so much for joining us today on today's overcoming domestic abuse and trauma. And that was your journey.
Oh, thank you.
Just one thing I wanted to ask you, if you had to give advice to somebody else that's going through something that you had gone through or coming out of it or just
Mhm.
listening, what would that one sentence be?
Feel that if you can find someone that who's gonna be non-judgmental, I don't know, and just kind of seek for help. I feel I held it for too long, and I feel I ought to get the help a little bit sooner, but I've also tried to motivate yourself and just be positive. I know it's easier said than done, but obviously I've been through it. So I'm just saying that like seeking the help and someone that you can trust, yeah, and be open. That would be very good.
Amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
That's all right. Thank you.